What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of MissFlips. In today's episode, we are going to be doing a paint review of Mélange's One Line. This is an all-in-one paint and primer and top coat. I have never used Mélange before, and I am not affiliated with them. I don't have any sponsorship or anything like that, so I am truly and honestly giving you my unbiased opinion of their one paint. If you guys remember this guy, it was bought by a local designer here in Atlanta. He designs clothes and has an amazing line of clothing. You can check him out in the description below. I'll put his Instagram link there for you. But he purchased that piece and then wanted a matching table for when you walk into the store and you have your hand sanitizer and like maybe a little sign there to greet you and give you a little bit of the house rules, you know, type of thing. But he wanted it to match. So I'm gonna be making a matching end table for this little guy here. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, let's get flippin'. Alright gang, so in today's video we are going to be working on this sweet little piece right here. It is a mid-century modern piece. I don't know what happened to it, who let it get like this, but some people did some crazy things to it. We are going to fix that and make it all brand new and sparkly and shiny. This piece was actually commissioned by a client of mine who bought this black beauty right here, and they wanted a matching side table. It's going to be put in their studio. They are a fashion designer, but also wanted to have a piece as you walk into the studio for, you know, hand sanitizer and a little welcome sign and all that sort of stuff. So I am making this piece to match that other piece. And first off, we started off by removing the disgusting wallpaper sticky stuff that was on the bottom of these drawers. And then we are going to be moving on to taking off the hardware. I don't know if this, I don't think it's the original hardware. It seems a little strange to have that kind of hardware on mid-century modern, but hey. Anyways, we are going to be replacing it with these little gold cup guys right here. I love this hardware. I love this little hardware tool that I got. But I actually decided to change the location of the holes after screwing them in. I realized that when I screwed them in, it would be way too high up on the drawer, and I wanted it to be more centered. So I just went ahead and put some wood filler in them and let them dry. And then there's a couple of gouges that were on the surface of the nightstand, so I just went ahead and filled up some of those spots that needed to be filled. And then I let it dry for the recommended amount of time and then went in with a sanding block and a little piece of sandpaper. I believe I used 120 for this, and just gave it a good sand. And I made sure to wear my respirator because even with small jobs like this, it kicks up a lot of dust, as you can see. You do not want to be breathing that stuff in there, so please make sure to always wear a respirator when you are working, because this is what it looks like. This is what will end up in your lungs. And I just gave it a quick once over with the vacuum just to get all that dust off of there before I started working on it. And as I was cleaning it off, I noticed that this bottom leg was a little bit wobbly. So I unscrewed it and just took a look at the base of it, and it turned out that the little tiny metal bracket in there was a little loose. Like when I touched it, it kind of clanked around like this. So I didn't have any like real glue on hand, so I just used this plumber's glue that I had. I figured it would work better than wood glue, and I just went in there and put it around the edge. That way it would kind of just stick to the metal and it would just kind of cement to it. And it worked really well, actually. It just stuck and didn't move around at all. But then I put it back on and it still moved. So I put a layer of glue around the base of the foot and let that dry. And whilst that was drying, it was time to put the hardware. All of the surfaces were all sanded down now, so I could go ahead and drill in my new hardware holes, and it worked beautifully and was exactly where I wanted them to be. So it turned out awesome. And now for the exciting part. I'm using paint by Mélange paints. They are a mom and pop shop in Houston, Texas, and they only have 6 people working at their disposal, which I think is really cool. It all comes with a handwritten label and everything, and it also comes in glass jars, which you know me, I'm all about my eco-friendly. So I'm really pumped on that. And it's a mineral-based paint, and their one line is actually an all-in-one inclusive paint experience. It has base coat, paint, and top coat all in one go, and it is water-based and low VOC and self-priming and leveling. So it was actually pretty good. Honestly, I didn't like it at first. I thought the coverage was a little spotty. I expected it to be a little bit more, but then I was, comparing it to other paints that I've used in the past. And typically, you use probably 1 or 2 coats, maybe even 3, just depending on the paint brand. But I only had to use 2 coats with this guy, and the self-leveling was genuinely amazing. I hardly had any brush strokes in my finished product, and it went on really nice with that second coat there. But yeah, it does have a smell. Being a mineral paint, for some reason I did expect it to be a little bit more odorless. But I guess since it has the primer and the top coat, that gives it a little bit more of a smell. But it went on really nice, and I like it a lot. I didn't even have to use that much. I mean, granted, I am doing a pretty small piece, so obviously it wouldn't use that much of any paint ever. But for the size of the piece, I didn't have to use that much paint, so I really enjoyed it. The consistency of it was a little tacky, just like a little sticky, and it was kind of hard to spread around, but honestly, I think that just has to do with the fact that it's an all-in-one paint, and the fact that, you use a little bit more paint to cover a space, to me isn't that big of a deal if you are looking to, eliminate a lot of the process, because this definitely does. Being all in one, you don't have to waste time, priming, sanding, and, waiting for coats to dry, which honestly takes up most of my time. I don't know about you guys, but it definitely takes up basically all the time that I spent is just waiting for it to dry, pretty much. But yeah, and then the fact that you don't need a top coat on top of it, I mean, for this piece specifically, I needed a satin finish, so I ended up using a top coat anyway just to get that satin finish. But you guys will see in a bit what type of finish it has. I'll show you guys that once I put the second coat on there. But yeah, it's a time saver for sure. So here is the result with one coat. As you can see, it's pretty thin, and you can see still a lot of the wood through there, but genuinely that second coat, once it's on there, you don't need anything else. Again, it's just, yeah, 1, 2, and done. There's no waiting time, there's no 3-step process. It's literally just 2 coats of paint, and that's all you have to do, which is really, really cool. And if you want that extra protection, that extra grip, that extra layer, you can always do 3 coats of paint. But again, you do not need to. It's pretty cool. For these bottom legs, I am just twisting off the bottom metal caps that are on them because one of them didn't have them, and so I didn't have a way to make a replica of these caps. So I just went ahead and wrenched them off, and just a little twist and a little bit of elbow grease and you can easily just slide them off there. But yeah, so I'm intending on taking them all off so they all look uniform and even, and so that the table is as stable as it possibly can be. And then I'm going to paint the bottom of these legs gold. That way they still look like they have that cool mid-century, gold cap on the legs look, but without actually having to do gold legs. And here we are going in for that second coat there, and as you can see, it is just so much better. It is getting rid of any sort of translucence that was in the first coat, and it is so much better. I am telling you guys, the second coat of paint is just beautiful. And I'm getting the inside here. I didn't want to do the entire inside since it is going to be having the drawers that are blocking it, so I didn't want to have to waste paint on that, but I did paint the inside of the drawer just to make sure that the whole thing was black, just as the customer wanted it. But yeah, look at that coverage, so nice. And I put this in normal time for you guys just so you could really appreciate how nice this stuff goes on. Honestly, I had a better experience with the coverage on the second go around. It seemed that a little paint went a long way when I was doing the second coat. I don't know, it probably honestly had to do with the fact that it already had some of the paint on there. But I did not have to use as much as I did the first time, and it just went on and covered the entire area, one dip of paint, which was very nice and pretty cool. And now on to smaller things. I was going in with some gold spray paint to replace those bottom little metal things on the legs there. If you guys know what those are called, leg caps maybe? I have no idea. But let me know in the comments if you do know what they are called. Obviously I got some paint on the legs and I had to do some touch up where the spray went onto the actual piece, but I just went in there and touched it up with more of the black paint and covered up that gold spray. I actually liked the look of the gold spray, but that's not the look that I think we're going for with this piece. Maybe I'll do it on a piece in the future. Not this time. Here is the finished product after 2 coats. Look at that finish. Really nice. I'm genuinely really impressed. I saw very little brush strokes in that finish and I really liked them a lot. And the color on it is definitely like a true black. For the hardware, I wanted to make sure that the color gold matched the base gold that I put on the legs, so I gave them a quick spray and then moved on to the clear satin top coat finish that I was putting on top of these guys. So again, you don't have to put a top coat with this paint. It does have a built-in top coat with it, but I did want a satin finish with this piece because I needed it to match another piece that I made. So I went ahead and did the top coat, you know, just so it would match. And also, you know, a little extra protection never hurt anyone. All right, so that was the final product, obviously. And to talk about the paint itself, obviously I gave you guys my opinion in the video as I was doing it, but for the MissFlips recommendation scale, I'm gonna give it probably a 7 out of 10. The only reason being, I do prefer chalk paint still over this one line. I haven't tried their, you know, regular water-based mineral paints, so I can't compare it to that. I'm only specifically talking about their one-line paint. And yeah, I still definitely do prefer chalk paints over it, but color-wise, 10 out of 10. Coverage-wise, 10 out of 10. But there's just something about that chalk, man. Something about it. It just, it's nice, you know? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, the color on this is amazing. It's genuinely like a true black. It is so black. It is so nice and just rich and deep. And yeah, I like it a lot. So would definitely recommend to a friend. And yeah. And this weekend, this Saturday, we are coming out with a Halloween special. I'm going to be doing another Halloween challenge for you guys, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. We have a bunch of YouTubers getting together for this one as usual, and we are deciding whether or not we want to do, you know, the tricky side or the treaty side. No, that doesn't make sense. We're deciding whether or not we're going to do Halloween or more fall themed. Halloween being, of course, you know, scary, spooky, dark, menacing, whatever. And then we're also gonna be doing like more fall type of stuff, like, you know, our browns and reds and oranges and all the stuff that fall brings. And yeah, so check it out. It's gonna be awesome, so much fun, so many talented artists, and yeah. So we'll see you this Saturday. All right, guys, until then, stay flippin'. Mwah.